Hi, this is Ask Brock. I'm Brock Yordy. This week's question comes from Tom. Brock, what's better, cement or bentonite grouts? I'm being told that bentonite is no good anymore. I think it's appropriate. It's 2023. So what has it been? About 10 years since this dang Nebraska Grout study started, which was a fine science project for the state of Nebraska. And to march across the country and talk about it, it was a good discussion for us to have. But we use grouts to seal that annulus to protect the water that we want to be able to use for many lifetimes and stop commingling of aquifers and all of those aspects. And a grout is only as good as our ability to effectively drill that hole, effectively place that trimmy and pump the right mix ratio and positively displace the drilling fluids out of the hole. Those are all the aspects that are going to be successful. So if I'm in Michigan or the Great Lakes states with a high water table and the ability to have a very big saturated zone, 20% bentonite is going to be great. And you can see that by the regulations we have. However, water chemistry, formation chemistry is going to start to affect that. High in chlorides or high in total dissolved solids are going to start impacting that. Because again, I have a 20% solids material. That means it's 80% water, and that water can be affected. And then we start to break down the bentonite, or it dries up and desiccates and it cracks. But wait a minute, I got a finished basement. I can go down there and I can look at the walls and I can see those are cracked. So again, the right mix ratio in conditions for cement, not exceeding that 6 gallons per, 94-pound bag of Portland. 5.9 gallons is what I like to go with. And am I using a filtration control additive or a super plasticizer to help lengthen that heat of hydration, keep the water phase in the cement, and have a more competent cement? I started my career with Halliburton, and they were very good at engineering cements and placing those cements. And that's what it takes to be successful. If there's any doubt on water chemistry or what we should be doing, we should be talking with our regulators and our manufacturers and going with their engineered specifications. But beyond that, when I'm working around the world, a chip bentonite that's very, very high in solids is even better right on top of that gravel pack or right on top of that, shale trap. And then I can put a sand blotter in and I can cement, or I can pump, an inhibitive bentonite slurry like you see behind me right now that came out of the ground in an oatmeal unyielded like consistency, and it's going to continue to yield. So this is a big discussion. And for me, what I've seen poor drilling practices. I've seen bad water chemistry. I've seen poor pumping capabilities or mix ratios. And on top of that, your trimming. Your trimming is a very big piece of this, being able to effectively pump that. And the smaller the trimming or the poor grouting equipment or the pressures going up, you're driving the water phase out of any of these grouts, be it a cement and sand, or a cement and graphite for a thermally enhanced, or a sand and bentonite thermally enhanced grout, or a 20% or 30%, bentonite slurries from, inhibited or dispersed, and looking at what the shear structure is and what you need for your formation. If I'm in a karst formation, how am I going to stop that slurry from going out into those fractures and losing it? And how am I going to top it off? So there's lots of pieces there. And we can't just say bentonite's no good or there's no place for cement. It's about our ability to be the professional that places that effectively, that works with our regulators, make sure that we have the right equipment to do it, and is using the manufactured, engineered mix ratios, pumping capabilities, and knowing the limitations. It's a great question. And seems about appropriate. It's been 10 years since we started that. And there's a study still going on in Nebraska. And what did we learn? Poor formation chemistry, poor water chemistry, a big drought, multiple reasons why a 20% bentonite was not the right grout for that time. But that doesn't mean that we can do that. The saturated and unsaturated zone, the Vado zone in Nebraska is not the same as it is in Michigan or in Georgia or in New Mexico. And that's what we really need to think about. Great question. Thanks for letting me get technical, Tom.